Hey, it's your boy Shaun, and welcome to Supercars from the Hood. Now, on today's episode, we're going to talk about Ford. But not just any Ford, we're going to talk about the second generation Ford GT. Now, I just want to say this ain't going to be some kind of Ford bashing video. I just want to get that out of the way. This is going to be a little constructive criticism. A couple of things I'd like to see from Ford. With that said, let's get it on. This iteration of the Ford GT has a twin turbocharged V6. Yes, I know V6. A lot of people not thrilled about that, but it is what it is. It has 647 horsepower, 550 pound-foot of torque, and a top speed of 216. Here's a little backstory for the Ford GT for those not familiar with it. Back in the 1960s, Ford was in the process of buying Ferrari when Enzo Ferrari backed out of the deal. So to get back at Ferrari, Ford created the Ford GT to win Le Mans, which they did on several occasions. Now Ford built this latest generation of Ford GT to win Le Mans for the first time in 50 years, which they did, which is pretty impressive. So I'm going to use that to segue into the next segment. The new Ford GT is a Le Mans winner, but is it a hypercar? And the answer to that is a disappointing no. It is not a hypercar. Compared to the hypercars of yore, the P1, the 918, the LaFerrari, the Ford GT is missing a few things. Let's start with the obvious. The Ford GT isn't a hybrid, so it doesn't have the extra horsepower that comes with the electric motor. The Ford GT doesn't have the brutal acceleration as these hypercars. While I'm not an engineer, I assume the Ford GT doesn't have that brutal acceleration because it doesn't have the electric motor, which doesn't have to wait for the engine to combust before it accelerates. It can accelerate instantaneously off the line. Now, by no means is the Ford GT slow. It's still a fast, quick car. It just isn't hypercar fast. It's just at that level. Which brings me to my second point and major point of this video. Did Ford miss a golden opportunity by not making the Ford GT a hypercar? On this point, I would say yes. Ford did miss a golden opportunity to make the Ford GT a hypercar, and not because it isn't great or anything like that. I just believe they missed the opportunity to introduce a new car that could be a supercar, a car that would be between the Mustang and the Ford GT. I know what some of you are thinking. Why doesn't Ford just build a new hypercar and leave the GT as a supercar? I mean, yeah, they could do that, but there's prestige behind the Ford GT name. People would jump to buy a GT hypercar. Nobody would buy a new name Ford hypercar. They would just say it's just a Ford and then leave it at that. With the GT name, there's brand recognition, and you really can't throw that away. Or maybe I'm just miscategorizing the Ford GT. Maybe it isn't a hypercar or a supercar. Maybe it's just a halo car, a car to showcase the ability of the other Fords below it. You know, the Focus RS, the Raptor, the Shelby GT 350, or the GT 500 when it comes out. Ford could have quenched our hypercar thirst with the release of the GT90 back in the 1990s, but they didn't, which means Ford missed yet another golden opportunity. With that said, I'm gonna bring this video to a close. Now, I want to make the golden opportunity a new segment for the channel. I want to see how it goes. I know the channel is still new, so that means no one is watching the videos, but this is for the future subscribers. So when they hear this video for the first time, they'll know that a new segment is coming up, and I want them to check it out. It'll be called Golden Opportunity. I want to see how it works, how many ideas I can come up with. I don't want my videos running too long and me running off at the mouth. So if you like the video, like the video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video. If you want to see what I got planned next, come see what I got planned next. I got a lot of things I want to do with this channel, and I want you to be there with me. I'll catch you guys later.